Hello everyone, very good evening to all. So in last session, we worked with state management. Why we need to use state management? I think you already know very well. What is the purpose of state management here? We've seen already. We know to transfer the data, we are using HTTP protocols from one location to another location. If you want to transfer any type of data, definitely protocols we have to use. Generally, protocols are two types, stateless and stateful. Stateless protocols cannot remember the data. Stateful protocols can remember the data. We know that in every web application, we are using stateless protocols. Means that they cannot remember the data. Whatever the data the protocols cannot able to remember, the data we have to bring to the endpoint. That is nothing but by using either session or cookie. So if data is not available, so then what we are doing guys here? So we are going to use the thing. So we know that protocol can remember current request data only. Protocol cannot remember the previous request data. When we have multiple requests, one after another, another after another, P1 to P2, P2 to P3, P3 to P4. So they are in a series of requests. So from one page to another page, we are transferring data. At the end of we are getting only one page data. That to current page data, that is P3 data is available in P4. We seen that practically yesterday, right? Whatever the data we are unable to bring to the P4, and the data we saved in a cookie and we bring to this exactly. This is what we did there, right? Yeah. Now the point is here. I want to bring the data from P1 to P4 by using session. So why should I use session, sir? In cookies, we have some drawbacks. To overcome those drawbacks, we are going to use the concept called a session. I think yesterday we seen what is a cookie. Cookie is a small amount of data. A cookie is a small amount of data that can be stored in a browser, right? That can be stored in a browser. This is exactly the concept of cookie, right? Cookies data can be visible and everybody can see the cookie information. Cookie information may be modified as well, right? So if whenever we are working with sensitive informations like bank accounts, user information, definitely we can't use the concept called cookies. Definitely we cannot use the concept called cookies. Then what is the best way, right? Definitely to overcome these problems, we are going to use the concept called session. Anybody, what is a session? A cookie is a small amount of data that can be stored in a browser. A session is a huge amount of data that can be stored in a anybody, where it can be saved. Do you know where it will be saved? Stored in cookie, stored in browser. Session stored in where the session data will be stored. Session data will be stored in our server location. Server. So the server can accessible by everybody? No, only the administrator only can access the server. Administrator only can see the server files actually. Right? The session files, there will be some session files will be created because I told you a session is a huge amount of data. Why it is a huge amount of data? The session data will always be stored in a session files. A file can store huge amount of data, right? This is a file. In this file, we are writing lot of characters. That's the reason. Session data will always stored in a file. Stored in a file. Whatever the data you are storing, earlier we saved number one, number two, cookies. Cookies, they will be generally stored in a browser window. Now a session is a huge amount of data that can be stored in a server. Session data will always be stored in a files. Okay, if you have 30-40 sessions, then 30-40 session files will be created, right? So if one course people log in into the application, Facebook application, one core sessions files will be created. For every user, there is a session file. For every user, there is a session file. You know one thing, if we can hit the logout button, the session file which is created for you, right? The session file will be destroyed. The session file will be deleted. If you logged in, session file will be created for you. If you logged out, session file will be destroyed for you. If there is no session, you cannot able to log into the application, simply says, right? Yeah, exactly, guys. So this is the session data will always be stored in a files concept. Session files are saved or created. Session files are created, created, created in temporary location of the server, guys. This is the following location. See XAMPP, there is a TMP folder. In this location, the session files will be created or stored, whatever it may be. You want to created or stored. Session data will be stored in the following location. If we can open this, we can see the session file. The session file we can open also, and we can see the data, right? We can see the data as well. Okay, let me do one thing. So now I'm going to tell you how to create a session, how to access a session, right? So yesterday, for creating a cookie, we have a method called set cookie, right? Set cookie is a method. How can we access the session, cookie, by using $_cookie super global variable? This is the way of accessing a cookie. This is the way of creating a cookie, way of accessing a cookie. Now, how can we create a session? Anybody? Do you have any idea? How can we create a session? Remember, if we want to work with session, I'm writing one point, try to see, this is very important. If we want to work with the session, SESSIY, if you want to work with session, or if you want to, okay, let us write the point like this. If you want to create a session, you want to create a session, or you want to access a session, or you want to destroy a session, DESTROY, destroy a session. You want to create, or you want to access, or you want to destroy. I don't know what you want to do with the session, right? We have to use session underscore start function. Session underscore start function. Remember carefully, guys, I'm telling you one point, keep it in mind. I don't know what you want to do with the session. You want to create a session, or you want to access a session, or you want to destroy a session. There should be session start function. Without using session underscore start predefined method, we cannot work with sessions. It is a highly impossible, right? So even if you want to create a session, or you want to access session, there should be session start. First of all, I have to write session underscore start, right? Start. After that, we have to create the session. How can we create the session? So we know how to create a cookie. Now I just want to know how to create the thing, guys. Exactly, right? So now you can see the session data is going to be created like this by using super global variable only, $_session. This is equal to name of the session. Yesterday also we seen the same, equal to value of the session. Understand? Value of the session. What we did yesterday, almost all same, but the way of creating is different, right? Okay, definitely. So here, if we can see, okay, this is the creating session. Once session is created, you want to create a session, right? Let us write one small thing, $_session name. I'm taking something. Yesterday also same cookies we created. Here I'm going to take something called ROM. So $_session. Now it's look like a variable only, variable declaration assigning value, something like city. I'm taking something called HYDERABAD, Hyderabad. Okay, exactly, this is done. Okay, this is a way of creating session. Now here, accessing a session. How can we accessing a session? How to access a session simply says by using the super global variable. If you want to access session, first of all, we have to session start. Without doing, we can't do. Always it should be on the top of the page. So if you want to print them, echo $_session of name. Simply, guys, variable. How can we declare a variable? How can we access a variable? In the same manner, we can do city as well. This is exactly the way of accessing a session. Done. Next thing, deleting a session, right? How can we delete a session? Delete a or destroy a session, whatever it may be. Now you can see it may be deleting or destroying. First of all, you have to write session underscore start. After that, we have a method session underscore unset is a method, and session underscore destroy is a method. DESTROY, destroy is a method. There are two methods are there. In interview, there is one question. What is the difference between unset and destroy? Generally, I told you, session data will be saved in session files, right? For every session, there is a session will be created. Okay, now remember carefully, session data will always be saved in a session file. Keep it in mind. If you can write unset method, what unset method will do, it will remove the session data from a session file. Okay, na? File is not going to be deleted. Just data will be deleted from the session files. File will be there. The data is going to be deleted by using unset. If we can use destroy method, it will removes it will removes the session file permanently. Nently permanently from the server, permanently from server location. I told you, right, where it will be saved in the temporary location. From that location, the session file will be deleted permanently. Generally, when we are logging to the application, we will create a session. If we can create a session, automatically session file will be created. The information will be saved in the session file. So after accessing the session, you want to exit from the application, you are going to write these three lines. It will remove the data. After removing data, file will be permanently deleted from the server. Sometimes it may be deleted immediately. Sometimes it may take some time based on the system or whatever it may be, guys. Okay, sometimes it may delete it, but definitely if you are stopping the server, if you are restarting the server, or you are restarting your system, definitely session files will be gone. All right, right. This is a way of creating session. Now what I want to do, I'm going to p1. The value you entered here, the value will be transferred to p2. So earlier we saved this into a cookie. Let me save this into a session. To work with session, we have to start the function session start. After that, I have to save the session. Name of the session is going to be number one, same story, equal to the value what you want to save it. The only thing syntactic little bit difference is here, accessing the difference only. So now this is done. Now p2 done. Now I'm going to, this is commenting this p3 value, p2 value here. So this is going to be num2 and this is going to be num2, right? Exactly. This is going to be p4. In p4 we have to access the session value, right? So this is not the way of accessing, this is the way of accessing cookie value. Now how can we access the session value? First of all, session underscore start. After that, $n1 equal to dollar underscore session of, what this is, number one, numbr number one, and this is going to be number two. Simply we have to do something like this, guys. This is n1, n2, n3. So earlier we maintained the application by using cookie. Now I am maintaining the same thing by using some other localhost colon. So 8 p.m. July p1.php. Let us go and execute the file p1.php. You can see, oh God, something went wrong. p1.php. HTTPS, remove this. All right, you can check this. Now enter the value. Now hit submitted. Now hit submitted. Hit submitted. Now you can see the values are going to be 60 because 10, 20, 30. State is maintained. Yesterday, we did the same job by using cookie. Today, I did the same thing by using session. So I told you, right, the data will be saved in the session file. Can we go and check this? How can we identify this? Now you can go and check to your server location. So now go to this. Now you can go htdocs. There you can check this. Oh, not htdocs, temporary location, right? Go back, open XAMPP. You can find the TMP folder. This is the TMP folder. Now you can see. Where is my file? Where can I see the file which is created for you right now? There are a lot of files. Coding CI session means that is coordinate related session, and I have some session files are there. What is the file created for you? Remember carefully, guys. Here I'm telling you one point here. Whenever we are creating the session, keep it in mind. So if you can start the session in a page, a session file will be created to you, right? Immediately when a session start function you invoked, right? On the top of the page, we are invoking session start, right? Session file will be created. Session file will created for you when if you can invoke the session start function. So after creating the session file, whatever the data you want to save it, data will be saved. Data will be saved in the server, sorry, in the server. Guys, the session data was in a server, na? How we are able to access in a browser? Remember carefully what after session file is created, after saving the data, what server will do, server will send an ID to the browser server will send an ID to the browser. That ID is called session ID, right? That ID is called session ID. This is the session ID will be transferred to the browser. Why? Because the server contain lot of session files, not only you, everybody's whoever log into the application, everybody's session will be saved in the session, the TMP location. So once a session is created for you to the browser, it will send that session ID as an in-memory cookie. Server will send an ID to the browser as an in-memory cookie. In-memory cookie. This is the cookie will be transferred to the browser. Why? Because the data was in a server. We have to display into the browser. There should be some relationship between the browser and server, right? Yeah, the relationship is nothing but your session ID. The session ID will start with SCSS underscore, a 32-bit alphanumeric string, guys. The session file name will always start with SCSS underscore session ID that is going to be generated to you. SCSS, every session file in PHP will created with an extension SCSS underscore, the remaining session ID. The session ID may be 32-bit alphanumeric string. Let me show you in the folder. Can you see a session file is there? Now I'm copying the session file. Now you can see how the session file will be created here. Now you can see SCSS underscore, the remaining 32 characters, this is the length, is called session ID. This session ID will transfer to the browser as a cookie. I mean, if it is transferred to the browser as a cookie, now you can click on it. Can you see there are two cookies in use? Now I'm going to click on the local host. Now you can see there is a cookie. Can you see PHP sys ID is a cookie name? I told you, right? Server will create a cookie. The cookie name is the PHP session ID. PHP sys ID is the name of the cookie which is created by the server, and it is a reference to the server and the browser. Right? Remember carefully, server will always holds everybody's session data, not only you, everybody's session data. What server will do, once a request come to your browser, server will generate the session ID, it will transfer to the browser as a in-memory cookie. This is the session file belongs to you, right? This is the session ID. Now you have to check a file in the browser in your location SCSS underscore with the session ID. This is the session ID. D5 RKH, something you have to see there. Now you can see the first file is that file only. Now you can see the same session ID just now created 8:21 p.m. If you can open this, now you can see the session data we are able to see now. Yeah, that is the session data. Number 1 of size 10, number 2 of size 20. This is the session data is serialized. There is a word called, right? We are able to see the session data, right? Yeah, we are able to see the session data, and the session data we are able to access in the browser also. Remember carefully where the data was saved, because it is a file now. If it is a file, we can save a huge amount of data in the session file, definitely, right? Yeah, this is all about the saving data inside a session. Exactly, guys, right? So if you want to destroy the session data, now you can see I want to execute a separate file, destroy.php. Let me do one thing. So this is done. We are able to see the data. You can continue. You are able to see the data. Let me do one thing here. I'm creating one file to destroy the data, right? Let me do one thing. So open PHP, close PHP. Simply let me execute it. Actually, I will show you later how we can use this practically, but just for our understanding purpose, I'm creating one file with the name destroy.php. Simply you can write this dgst ROY, destroy.php is the file name. You can take any file name. Just I won't write these 3 lines of code. Session underscore start. After that, session underscore unset. After that, session underscore destroy is the method. That's all. Just you can execute this. We cannot see any output here actually. I'm just going to execute the file localhost colon slash. So 8 p.m. July slash the file you created just now, DESTROY destroy.php. I'm just executing. I think you cannot see anything in the browser window because we didn't print it. We executed 3 methods. Now I want to go to this following location. Will you able to see the session file which is created just now? Where is the session file? Session file is not there. Can you see? This is some other file we are able to see. The session file was deleted, right? Yeah, the session file will be deleted. Now you can go to this. If you can refresh it, you cannot get the session values. You will get the number one, number two values are not getting. You are getting number three value because this value will automatically available to the P4 location, but these values are not able to collect it. This is called the thing. In interview, there is one very important question, guys, here. If we disable the cookies, can we work with sessions or not? Understand, guys, my question? I am disabling the cookies in my browser window. If we can disable the cookies in the browser window, can we work with the session or not? Answer? Answer, guys. Do you got the clarity? If I disable the cookies, can we work with sessions or not? Answer is no or yes. If you can say yes, why? If you can say no, how? You cannot escape here, right? See, one thing, guys. I told you, once the session started, session file will be created. After that, session file created with the name SCSS underscore session ID. What server will do immediately, that session ID will be transferred to browser as a cookie. Actually, server will create a cookie as a reference to the server and browser. If you are disabling the cookies in the browser, how a server can create a cookie for you? Server cannot create a cookie. If server is not able to create a cookie, how can we connect the browser and the server? It is impossible, na? So answer is no, we cannot. So the session will always depends upon the cookie. But okay, what is the data you are able to see in the cookie file? Now you can see the session ID is completely different now. Now you are able to see the session ID. It is going to be completely different session ID. Now you can see the session ID is earlier. This is exactly the cookie data I'm able to see. But what you can able to see, the encrypted code you are able to see. You are not able to see the data of the session. You are able to see the session ID. That is the name of the file only you are able to see. The session data you are not able to see. Exactly, right? So this is all the things, right? Answer, what is the answer? If I disable the cookies, can we work with sessions or not? Answer, that is so 100%. It's not possible. You cannot work with the sessions independently. A session will always depends upon a cookie. If cookie is not there, you cannot. Why not? You can go to facebook.com. So fb.com, all of you, I will show you. I logged in. No, I didn't logged in. Okay, let me go to the browser. Go to the settings. I'm disabling the cookies, guys. Try to see. This is going to be cookies. You have to search for cookie now. Let me go for cookie. You can see there is a concept called cookie. Yeah, these are the cookies, I believe. Where is this exactly? Cookies and site data. So now you can check this exactly. We're able to see the cookies. Oh, it went somewhere, guys. Where is that cookie? It gone? Huh? My God. Advanced settings. No, let me search for it again. Cookie. Okay, this is the cookies. Now you can see privacy and security tab. Okay, privacy and security. Here we have cookies and site data, guys. This is the tab, right side, left side, privacy and cookies. Cookies and other sites data. Right now, allow access. Can you see allow all cookies? Now I'm clicking this block all cookies. Now you did it all cookies. Okay, now try to see. I'm trying to log in the facebook.com. Let us enter the username and password. I'm trying to log in. Oh guys, can you see it is I entered a valid username and password, but there was a problem with this request. We are working on getting to fix it as soon as we can. It is not able to log in. Okay, now you can see. Now I'm going there. Now let us allow all cookies. Done. Now I'm coming here. Now I'm trying to log in the details again. Same login. Now you can see just I'm going to enter the same information again. Try to see. Okay, deleted facebook.com. You can enter the username and password. Earlier I tried, but it doesn't allow me. Now I'm trying the same information. You can see every login application. Definitely now it is allowing me to log in, I believe. Yeah, can you see? I'm able to log in now. This is, but you have to remember one thing, guys, here. Be careful. Every login application, that may be Gmail or YouTube or whatever it may be, guys, I don't know. But remember carefully, it will depends upon the cookie. If there is no cookies, if the cookies are not enabled in your browser window, you cannot do anything. You can't do anything. So every browser will ask you enable cookies. Any login system you're working, I don't know, whatever the login system you're going to work on it, cookies should be enabled in your browser. If cookies are not enabled, we cannot work with the login systems. Seriously says, right? Yeah, this is all about the concept of session. Right, guys, carry on if you have any doubts. That's why I'm stopping. So tomorrow we can see the file uploading. So, and Monday we are going to start MySQL. So from Monday is first, first, okay, first is on Sunday. Okay, second onwards we will plan, right? Anyhow, 20 to 25 days will be there. 25 days hardly, I believe. MySQL almost 15 days is enough, guys. Here, PHP with MySQL library, they won't take much time. But I want to teach you more programming with PHP and MySQL. Then only you can be survive in real time. Right, carry on if you have any doubts in the session and cookie. Don't have any doubts in the session and cookie? You should get more doubts here. So let me know, guys, if you have any doubts in this. Yeah, no cookie, no session ID. Sessions will always depends upon the cookie. Java, .NET, Python, wherever you go, same process. Concept is same, guys. Why we are using session and cookie? For the same reason, Java people will also use the session and cookie concept. In Java, they will call state management objects, right? What data is in session files? That is normal string data only. The format is called serializable data. Serializable format. Serializes the data. The format. Nothing. The string and the size of the data you saved in the session files actually. If you can go and check this, let me open a file. This is the file we have. So let me open this. I think we don't have anything, right? Okay, let me open one more file here. Sorry. So you can open CI session. Just open some other file. Oh, I'm having lot of session data. Whatever the format you are able to see, entire format is simply called as serializable data. This may be many thing. They will be saved many thing. And this is S32 means S means string. PMA token. S means strings of size 32. I mean the value is saved in this is 32. After that HMAC. We don't worry about this format, guys. You are not a person to understand this. Just we need to understand where the data is saving. That's all. That's enough actually. No need to worry about the data, how the data is saving. You can see in cookie you can save anything, Andy, right? So you don't need to say to save the cookie ID. We can use session. See, cookie can be used for saving anything, right? So you cannot say what exactly that is. You can save anything in a cookie, but server also using the cookie for saving the session ID. That's the server is doing actually. Saurabh, you are saying something, sir. In interview, they ask about star pattern program or primary. In which interview, man? Why we use cookie or session in a project? Simply says to maintain the state of the application, we can use either session or cookie. What is meant by a state of the application? Then you have to talk about the stateless protocols. They cannot remember the data. Whatever the data the protocols cannot able to remember, that we have to bring to the application. That is called stateless. to maintain the state of the application, we can use session or cookie. Simple answer. To maintain the state of the application, we can use either session or cookie. Immediately they will ask you, what is meant by state of the application? Then you have to tell them HTTP protocols are stateless protocols. They cannot remember the previous request data. Whatever the data, the protocols cannot able to remember the data we have to bring to the endpoint. That is called state management. That is called managing the state. Unset method deletes the data in a file. Unset session underscore unset will read the data. Destroy will read the file. Yeah, very good. How to use session for limited period of time, like net banking websites? Very good question. For that, actually, we have to go to PHP configuration settings file. There we have to define the lifetime of the session. In PHP configuration settings file, there we have to define the lifetime of the session. You can open PHP configuration settings file, check the session settings. There is max underscore GC underscore lifetime property will be there. How to delete multiple sessions? Multiple sessions in the sense everything will be destroyed at a time by writing this method. See, for one browser, one session file will be created. All the session data will be saved in that file only. If you are writing unset and destroy, all the session file session data will be deleted completely. Even though that may be multiple sessions also. Everything is going to be saved in one file only. Session starting in p2.php now. See the value you entered in the P1, where the available, once you submit the form in the P1, the data was transferred to P2, right? So in the P2 only, how to create the session. That is the start, where exactly we started the session creation. While making projects, how can we use cookies? How can we use sessions? I will tell you. But right now, just try to understand what is a session, what is a cookie, how to access a cookie, how to access a session, how to create a cookie, how to destroy, how to create a session. If you just know that, that's enough. I will tell you remaining when we are discussing project. I will tell you exactly the usage of a session and a cookie. Right now, even if I can say you cannot understand, when we are discussing about login form, registration form, then I will talk more about the session and the cookie. There you will understand exactly the purpose of session and a cookie. Yeah, definitely. So you have to wait for some time. So when I'm discussing database applications, right, then you have to, I will tell you, don't worry, it's my, you don't need to worry. I will make you the sessions very clear at the time of database application. Right now you cannot understand the requirement, you cannot understand the situation. Even if I can explain you, I can tell you only theoretically only, we cannot explain you practically. So wait for some time. So when we are developing application, there I will explain you how these works practically. Right, very good. How to set the cookie expiration time? I forgot to tell you yesterday. For creating a cookie or whatever it may be, just I'm writing the logic. You can see cookie. This is set cookie, right? Set cookie is a method. Here, name of the cookie. We know that first parameter is the name. Second parameter is the value of the cookie. Value of the cookie, and third parameter is the expiration time. The expiration time, I'm taking this time function plus 3600. Can anybody tell me what is the lifetime of the cookie I created here? What is time function will do? Time function will give you always the current time in number of seconds. For this, I'm adding 3600 seconds. That are seconds per hour. How many seconds are there? I mean, whatever the cookie you are creating, the cookie will available from right now 8:42 now. The cookie will available up to 9:40. In the meanwhile, you can close the browser, you can open the browser, you can do anything, the cookie will never go. If the expiration is time is completed, then only cookie will be deleted automatically by the browser. This is the way of creating a cookie with expiration time. So you are asking MP, if data from P1, P2, P3 was saved in database, was sessions and cookies necessary? Do you know database as of now? You don't know database, right? Then how can we save the information in database? It is impossible, right? But moreover, remember carefully, you may have a question. You have to ask one question also to me. Sir, why should we save the session data in a file, sir? Can we save in database now? We can say like this also, right? Directly session data we can save in database. Why we are using the cookie and all, right? Remember carefully. Reading data from a file is very, very faster than reading data from a database. You know, 1 lakh records from database you want to fetch, it will take 10 minutes. It will take 10 minutes, guys, to fetch 1 lakh records. The same 1 lakh record you want to fetch from a file, just 1 minute is enough. 1 minute is enough. Files are very, very faster. And we don't want to save the unnecessary data in the database as well, right? That's the reason PHP by default using the concept called files. Any other questions, please? If you are not using session time for the session expiry, if you can close the browser, that will go on automatically. Because remember, session relation is a cookie, right? Cookie is a the cookie will server will never create a time for the cookie. Remember carefully, right? So then what happened? If we can close the browser, cookie will be destroyed. If cookie destroyed, there is no relation with the session and there is no relation with the browser and server, right? Yeah, that is going to be gone automatically. I mean, so if you didn't set the expiration time, that is going to be gone automatically. Actually, for session cookie, we can set the lifetime. So there is some settings are there at the time of login, logout applications. We can see them properly. Okay, right. Right, very good question. How's a Twitter like a company fetch data within a minute? Definitely, Twitter having lakhs of billions of trillions of tweets are there, right? But how they are loading the tweets? Remember carefully, they won't load all the tweets at a time. They will just load one or two or 10 tweets. That's all. They may have lakhs of tweets are there in a profile. When page is scrolled down, then they will load the data, remaining data. They won't load all the tweets at a time. You can see, if you can go to Facebook, we already logged in. No, you can go to facebook.com. Facebook is, do you think Facebook is loading everything in a single shot? No, you can see my scroll bar. You can see just my scroll bar is the size of the scroll bar. When you're scrolling down, do you see the scroll bar size is increasing? Can you see? When I'm doing something, you can see first time when I'm loading the page, I loaded the page. Can you see my scroll bar? Yeah, this is the right side completely. You can see my scroll bar. Just I'm moving the scroll bar. If its scroll position changes, some data will be updated in the screen. Can you see? Now you can see the scroll data is getting. Can you see? They are not loaded at a time. Can you see? All are not loaded. Can you see they are loading? So they are loading. Something like this exactly happening there, guys. Can you see? They are loading the data. Exactly, they are not all loaded at a time. Now you can see data is getting loaded slowly. You can see data is getting loaded very, very slowly. Right? Exactly, guys. This is what is the thing. They will load the data based on the situation. When you're scrolling up, when you're scrolling down, and whatever it may be, they won't load all the data at a time. Remember, that is a technique actually. So to make the data faster, I mean to application better preview to give the, see, if they are loading all the records at a time, that will be the browser will kill it. I believe it can't display the data to you, right? So this is a technique. On page scroll down, they will load the data. By setting time, does cookie stop working on server also? I didn't understand your question now, MP. So session will be created every time we open the browser. Not we open the browser. Whenever you're executing the session file, session will be created. Without executing a session file, session won't be created, right? If you are executing a session file, definitely, as you said, session will be created automatically. And the data, if you can save, it will be saved. Just you can write session start, guys. Session file will be created for you. And the server responsibility, what it will do once it is triggers the session start, server will create a session file. and it will transfer the session file name to the browser as an in-memory cookie, as a session ID. Actually, this is technically called session ID. Yeah, any other questions? Yeah, we will share you all the files. Don't worry. What are the files we are doing in the sessions? We will share you everything. And tomorrow concept is file uploading. Don't miss don't miss this session. We have to complete file uploading. Okay. How can we upload a file to server? Generally, how can we upload a resume? How can we upload a profile pic? So with validation, I have to upload image only. If you can select an image, then I will proceed. Otherwise, I want to display an error message to you. Okay, then. So we can see tomorrow, right? We can see file uploading. Thank you all then.